Americas. That's right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series, Americas Edition. That means twice the adrenaline, twice the explosions, and twice the Terran players. I'm Nathanius, joined by Zombie Grub, as we get ready to kick off Group A for Amped Up, which is exactly what we are and what you should be.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be a sick match coming up here. I think we have two favorites from the group, of course, but could still be a good match. TVZ.
Yep.
Going to cast him first. So.
Yep. We're going to go through the whole intro segment again for those of you joining us, as we are now in the round of 16 here for WCS Winter Americas. Of course, we did have our round of 32 groups. Everybody was competing. There were a bunch of open qualifiers, ladder qualifiers, all that. Top 8 players. Everyone that advances out of these groups now are going to be going into the round robin. 8 players, and from there, 6 will make it into a final bracket to play for a lot of money.
They're already playing for a decent amount of cash.
Yeah, they already are playing for a lot of money. I think even if you qualified and bottomed out, you got like $675 or something. Yep. Really awesome consolation prize considering the level of difficulty there is in this tournament. And speaking of that prize pool, of course, here you have it right here. $12,000 Renos to whoever gets first place. Pretty awesome. 60 grand in total per region. 60 grand for Europe, 60 grand for Americas. And it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. We've had so much going on. And now that we move into this group, our upcoming matches, I think those of you who are a little bit thirsty for the Terran play to spice up your February 14th, oh, you're going to get it. We've got SpeCial going up against Cham, and then hometown favorite, Scarlet, going up against Rex. Rex, who does some weird stuff, some weird funny builds. I think that matchup will be full of Niduses and all other sorts of weird stuff. But SpeCial versus Cham is going to be the first match. We have the lobby up and whatnot. I'm going to tell them that we are now ready to go with it. Should be a good one.
Yeah. You know, Scarlet's already had to deal with her fair share of weird Zerg, man. Did you watch that GSL? Did you watch that ZvZ?
I saw our first match. Saw the first one.
If you guys didn't watch the GSL group, spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1. Scarlet did not make it out, unfortunately, but she played against Ragnarok in a ZvZ that was,
as soon as the Terran games were over, I fell asleep because I stayed up. I stayed up very late to watch that.
Yes, that's understandable, but it was really weird. But that's a talking point for the next series, not this one. This one might actually be rather straightforward. We're spawning into King's Cove, and in the bottom right, as the red Terran, he is SpeCial.
Looking for that sweet victory here against his opponent in the northwest, the blue Zerg player. Give it up for Cham.
Recently joining that new team.
Yeah. How would you pronounce that? Is it
Chivo.
What?
Chivo.
Chivo? Okay.
Yeah, am I wrong? I don't know.
No, I just wanted you to say it first in case someone gave us crap for how we pronounced it.
Chiva.
Someone would be like, no, it's Hivo. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Pronunciation stuff gets weird. Okay.
It's also croissant, but I'm not going to go
The number of people in the world who say Gouda every day, I mean, collectively, you know, that's just...
What is it?
It's Gouda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have that letter in the English alphabet, actually.
Yeah.
The letter that they use.
It's not a sound I would expect anyone to be able to say. Okay.
I don't know. I think they use normal letters to determine it there, but I do know like Cyrillic alphabet is like 12 characters or something. There's like 8 maybe more characters for those weird noises than the American alphabet.
I did not know that. I know a fair bit about the Korean language.
They have two. They have 2 less letters, right, than us for their phonetic alphabet.
Yeah, I think they have less letters than us in general, but yeah, they can generally make, well, not quite all make all the same sounds. Anyways, you know what? To tie this in, trying to a decent segue, SpeCial is in Korea. He is.
Oh, he's playing from Korea. Okay, that's good to know.
Exactly. So I
reined
it in.
We're playing on US West, so.
But that is an important note because I believe Scarlet, she recently played in GSL, is also in Korea. And we are expecting SpeCial versus Scarlet. I think that's safe to say. Even though Cham has been a solid contender, 2017 was really a highlight year for him. He has always fallen to SpeCial as far as I can recall when they were playing in their more the Copa America region, right? Before that got mixed in.
So Cham's a big underdog here.
Yeah.
And these players would have had, as you've already put it, a ton of tournament experience, ton of ladder experience probably as well from his days over there. But Terran versus Zerg is always fun to watch these days. People do everything and anything, and whatever usually works. It's all about the execution, a bit of mind games, making good choices with economy and production for both sides, and I find that it's very fun. One thing I haven't seen a ton of is people trying to use the new Nidus versus Terran as much. It's something I would like to see. I don't know what that looks like, but I would like to see it.
I think we'll eventually see it mixed in, maybe from Cham. Cham has sometimes been an aggressive player, sometimes really roach-focused, even in this matchup, and is probably realizing that he has to, really pull out some stops here to beat SpeCial or Scarlet. That's kind of the two tough opponents here.
Looks like SpeCial's going to do a very safe build here. He's going to move the Starport onto the Tech Lab, probably go Banshee. Banshee's about the best way to keep yourself safe from any sort of poke at the start. If you're going to open Hellions, Banshee is generally just good. But okay, he's going to open with the Raven. I don't hate this. Ravens are really good. A lot of these maps have that airspace I won't shut up about for Liberator range, but also you can tuck a Raven behind the mineral line, drop a turret. SpeCial was actually one of the first pros to start doing this back when the Raven had 3 cast range for auto turret.
Good time.
Yeah, which made the build completely broken and unstoppable.
Wow. Now with only 1, it's actually quite obnoxious to use.
They raised it to 2, but yeah, it still sucks.
When did that happen?
I can't. It was when they reduced the damage of the turret, I think.
Yeah.
They cut
a while ago
the damage of the turret was 24, and it 2-shot everything, and then like, cut it down to 18. We'll give you 2 range instead of 1. Because honestly,
wow.
if instead of 1 range, I would have preferred that the Raven just worked like an overseer, and like when you press the turret button, it just drops down below it. That would have probably been better than 1 range.
Yeah, actually, I agree.
Because not having to click for 1 range was impossible because it was just so awkward.
It was. It's going to be a hard unit to use, so we don't see it a lot in TVZ, and we actually have a second one.
Yep.
Which is
it can be used. It can be used very effectively for clearing creep in the early game with these types of forces, but and I think we have seen it used a lot more versus Protoss. Actually, even in like GSL, I think we've been seeing the Dorito Cannon get some use there. But it's still really good to use versus Zerg if you can get it center mass on like Ling Bane. The -3 armor is insane. And there you see, that's just the power of the auto turret. So the idea here, I guess, is that he wants to put a Raven behind each base, have the Hellion Reaper kind of poke around. And what this is doing is it's creating a lot of space on the map for SpeCial. He's like, well, you're kind of tucked in, you have to defend, and I'm just going to expand. I'm going to build up my economy, double upgrades. He has 2 engineering bays. He's building up his barracks, adding reactors, and the Raven's just going to town.
Yeah, we saw a lot of this in a map pool like, oh my gosh, 8 months ago at this point, maybe even a year ago entirely.
This was being used on, what was that upside down map? Or the water map, sorry.
Yeah, Abyssal Reef.
Abyssal Reef.
Yeah, that was pretty big for it. So that's actually a long time ago. That's actually one of the original complaints, one of the original reasons why auto turret was changed.
That's why, they were like, well, we want you to be able to at least like hit the queen, hit the Raven once while it comes in.
Yeah. But that's, it's actually kind of nostalgic. It's not doing a heck of a lot of damage, and Cham's doing a good job keeping tabs on those Hellions, but it has forced the Queens to think they could try and catch the Ravens. They really haven't been spreading a lot of creep.
Plus, auto turrets over the course of their life, I think, do something like 240 damage or ish, and over the whole 10 seconds if it's shooting the entire time. So it's not also as simple as just leaving a queen or a spine or 2, because it will wear those down, it will break those down, and if you don't do anything, like pulling your workers away, it's going to kill several drones.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, it's worthwhile in the long run if you can keep it alive, which so far SpeCial has done, as well as the second Raven to help clear up creep. Cham still has a decent amount of queens, so he's replacing it finally, but it's taken him a while to really get that started. I mean, SpeCial's on his 3rd base with potential drop play coming in. I actually thought he was, but I guess maybe he's waiting on that stim. Yeah. And then he's going to have a very solid attack with the 2 tanks on what is not going to be a lot of creep spread.
Everything looks really good from him, too. And you're totally right. The tank push follow-up is very real. Based on what we're seeing right now, like lots of Roaches, Ravagers, and Banes being made, I think this kind of, I was going to say the biggest weakness of doing something like this for SpeCial, and the reason why I wouldn't recommend doing a build like this on ladder as your like, your daily driver or whatever, is you can very easily mess up your macro back home while you're, flying these Ravens around, trying to poke and prod with the Hellions. SpeCial is he is a trained professional, ladies and gentlemen. Do not try this at home. You will die to the counterattack because you won't have any units, but Special has a big army ready to rock and roll. I gotta say, I felt like Cham was getting ready to make a big attack on him. So he does have a ton of units ready to deal with this. Drops the Biles onto the tanks. Banelings with speed are there. There are Ravagers. There are a good amount of Roaches. Tons of Lings. The Ravens still being extremely annoying. So I didn't think Special was gonna be able to get too much done there, but he still has a huge army, and he still has all the production back home. His 2-2 is on the way, so I still like his position a lot.
He was definitely overconfident moving on that deep to creep. Not seeing anything prepared to defend, I suppose. Thought maybe he could get more. But yeah, he's not really getting what he wants from this, but the army is still alive. Finally getting a lot of creep spread. The entire top side not being covered. Cham is going to actually just really start struggling in the army supply. He doesn't have a lot of creeps to rely on, but then we see his supply in general really sort of dip down as the Ling Baneling. I mean, that's finally on the way, but so is the Infestation Pit, you know, like, that's my color.
Oh my god, he's doing it. He's getting Drilling Claws. This makes me really happy. So there's the Dorito Cannon on the Lings, and the Banelings is going to drop the armor by 3. Since there's only +1 Carapace researched, that means all of those units that you see covered in that orange dust, they are at -2 armor, which basically means the Marines would be doing the same damage as if they had +3 attack right now.
It can definitely contribute a lot. One of the reasons that we don't see it a ton is that Ravens do eventually just get, you know, they go a little too far forward, they go too far back, and they eventually do get picked off.
They haven't gotten the High Templar treatment, so they will fly in front of your army and kill themselves if you don't.
Yeah, which has already happened.
Very deliberately.
All the Ravens are dead now. But here's where good old scans will come into play. You are fully saturated on 3 bases, even going into 4, so you can start easily affording those scans and drop play. And this is really where we start to see Special start to tear Cham apart. Cham is trying to go for something that's kind of greedy. He's going for very fast hives, presumably ultras with no Spire on the way. Yet he's not going to be able to really hold up in supply, perhaps, as he's still struggling to even meet Special. But most importantly, he's not going to be able to get a decent army against Special's increasing upgrades, as well as that Drilling Claws you were noting. Not a lot of tanks here. Maybe it's not going to be the best push ever.
Yeah, I like the mine transition. I like it a lot because this composition isn't really Spire focused at all. Like, tanks can be good, but just repositioning them is a chore. And with this much Ling Bane and not going for like Hydralisks or anything, the range to deal with the Widow Mines isn't really there. So gets the Hellbats up front. Marines are spread very well, but I do think there is too much Zerg. He's going to be forced to retreat back towards where those tanks are. But even this position should still be overwhelmed at the end of the day. This is a scenario where being able to kind of trail out Widow Mines across the map would be really useful. It's going to get these Lings, though.
And he's got to drop in the main base. It sees the Hive, doesn't see an Ultras covering quite yet. It's just slapped down as well as Juno Gland.
Target.
Unfortunately, even if he got it, the timing for it to be effective might already be gone because Special was kind of cleaned up. But he doesn't get it anyways. I say he's cleaned up. He actually has all these Marines that lived. Coming forward, finding the creep spread in Queens. He's finally got rid of the creep spread entirely around this 4th base, so a strong rally.
Every single Marine to make it stop. And here we go. The Widow Mines are here now as well. Really nice. We see those big red beacons that say I'm going to kill you. GG. Special. Just parade pushes across the map. Crushed him.
Yep, crushed him. I mean, it was, some of those fights were like, oh, okay, Cham, I guess, has some ability, but it just always felt like he was going to be the one coming up from behind. Yep. He was going for a greedy-ish build that we see sometimes work out, but not against the severe pressure that Special is capable of putting on, especially if he's not interrupted in macro sense, right?
I don't feel like you can build Roaches against a guy like Special.
That's like kind of where I'm at too. Like
you can't do a middle of the road, because the thing is, Roaches are, versus any like bio especially, they're just bad unless you're doing one of those super fast upgrade all-ins, like the old 1-1 or whatever push that people used to do. But if you're not doing that, they just don't scale very well as you get more bio. And Roach Ravager, like, you used to see it, but then once bio hits 160 supply, it's like game is over, like super done.
It ends up looking like a waste of supply, unless the Terran's the type of player that does that more of conservative style, just like couple drops here and then maybe a big push when it's 200. Unless they're doing that, in which case the Roaches split apart can do well enough against the drops, and that's that's an effective way to open yourself up to get to the Hive.
Having Hydras there instead would be. Yeah,
but against Special, who is not just capable of throwing out curveball builds and doing the pressure, he also has that really good macro behind it.
Yep. That's the scariest part.
Yeah.
And I wonder what this game would have looked like. Because we talk about Cham, like, well, the Roaches didn't really do anything in the long run, but early on, it's like maybe for the Hellion harass, like, what would he have accomplished with the Ravens dropping turrets on 2 bases while those Hellions were sharking around if he didn't have Roaches? I just don't know. That was a very tough game to play. SpeCial is very good at StarCraft. That's really what I'm trying to tell you. Press your claim XP button, okay?
Yeah, exactly. That's basically the entire story, though.
Your dragon,
SpeCial
that's
is
your
so
Q.
darn good.
That's your Q with your dragon. Press claim XP for me. It should be up by now.
Everyone's expecting SpeCial to even top the group. I think everyone's looking forward to a SpeCial Scarlet series, which, again, we're assuming is the winner's match. But then on top of that, I am expecting SpeCial to actually just top the group entirely.
Yeah. I don't think that should surprise anybody.
Yeah.
I like SpeCial a lot, especially about the comments that you made. I won't go into mega crazy spoilerinos, but earlier. Automaton for map number 2 as we load in. I love this map. This map is great.
Do you? Why do you like this map?
Because it's just different enough, but you can still kind of play normal games on it.
Oh, I thought the answer was going to be we see battlecruiser rushes.
No.
No. All right. It's fine. That's fine.
That's not even my thing anymore. Everyone just blindly rushes to fight BCs when they play me anyway. So
it's true.
I can't even do the build.
Well, I don't know if SpeCial's type of person to bring that out. This is a map I see it a lot on, but maybe Cham knows how he's going to play. Maybe he feels comfortable here. In the top right, he's down 1, so it's up to him to bring it back. It's the blue Zerg, Cham.
Chammy Cham. He is facing off against our red Terran player in the southwest part of the map. He is SpeCial.
X10 Esports.
Did you do anything fun for Valentine's Day? Well, I won a ton of money and made it out of my group in WCS Winter Americas.
Yeah. Drogo actually made a tweet saying it's the best Valentine's Day ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Truly is.
StarCraft can be all your Valentines.
Yes, it can. So Cham, what is he going to do this game? I've always, even though I know he can play Ling Bailing Hydra, I've always just I feel like I see so many games where he goes Roaches, and I do feel like, and this is totally personal bias, but I do feel like Roaches are the easier thing to play against as a Terran player.
Oh, when someone builds Roaches, I'm like, thank you.
Yeah. It's usually more of just a numbers game, and once you realize, if you're not being overzealous, overconfident, and pushing into still decently upgraded Roaches, then you just wait for your 2/2, you wait till you're maxed or close to maxed out. And the push is a lot easier than Ling Bailings, which have run bys, they have surround potential, they really benefit off strong creep spread. Roaches, kind of not so much.
I find Roaches are only terrifying in 2 scenarios. When it's one of those Ling Ravager rushes,
right,
with a couple Roaches, or when they do the Nidus, right, and you don't see it coming. Because Terran, you can kill Nidus pretty effectively with the current builds in the meta. I calculated, I was playing some games yesterday, and a tank sieged up in your main, if a Nidus gets plopped down somewhere that you would have vision of, tank will kill it sieged up before it finishes, every time. So it's not even something you have to worry about to a crazy degree.
No. And just, I'm thinking back to Cham's Round of 32 group where he, it was against a Terran player. I can't remember the name of him right now. But that was the game that everyone was like, did he just tap out too early, trying to get to Brood Lords, and Control was casting, and Fear Dragon said, I thought I could understand how that happened, and Control looked at him like he was crazy. Yeah, that game. Game. But that's the game I'm thinking of where Cham, was going Roach's slower style, and he eventually got abused.
I did to bring up In Control on Valentine's Day.
I'm sorry.
Just imagining that handsome man standing here making fun of me while I make incorrect calls about StarCraft. That's all I wanted, actually.
Oh, that's all you wanted for Valentine's Day? I think I know what you're into.
Hellions on the way. Starport's almost done. Reaper poking the front.
Anyways, yeah. So it boils down to I actually really hope that Cham shows some great Baneling usage and is going to have maybe an easier time getting that creep spread out. As I'm not sure SpeCial's going to go for the double Raven thing again. I really wonder.
Ooh, it's Liberator. I like Liberator.
Okay.
Too. Liberator's good on this map.
So he's just not. Yeah, but we have that answered.
Actually, I'm gonna change my mind. Liberators are okay on this map. I don't hate them. It's really Liberators are good on the natural here and the third a bit. The main, you kind of have to go in a bit. And I'm just saying that in terms of when Zerg players spread creeper on their main, which all the good ones do, then at some point they just see the Liberator earlier.
Yeah. Liberators abuse when the minerals are right up against the edge, for instance.
Liberator range, I'm going to keep saying it. It's good on so many of these maps. On the natural here, you can siege one of the mineral patches with nothing able to hit you.
Yeah, feels great.
Yeah.
Actually, I was off racing a Zerg, and someone did that to me, and I was like, "Is this Nate?"
You know why I don't like off racing? It's because of Liberators.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's when I play Protoss, there's nothing I hate more than when the Liberators come in.
They are pretty scary.
It's your worst nightmare.
Yeah.
I've kind of gotten okay with mines. They still usually kill all my probes, but I'm like, ooh, Liberators. Oh, whose idea was this unit?
Yeah. But when you play with them, it's like they get.
Oh yeah,
easily.
well then it's like, wow, Liberators suck when I use them.
Of course. So Special once again with very strong macro, just a little bit of harassment, a little later on the harassment really. Now he doesn't have to control 2 Ravens. This Liberator actually gets a surprising amount of damage done. Totally unprepared for
Denying
this.
the production, by the way. Liberator is one of the few units in StarCraft that can kill eggs that are morphing.
That powerful. Cham does have lings, but I guess some of them have already been roasty toasted. There's actually not as many as he made out anymore, so Special is almost making these holes for himself.
No, he's building a Roach Warren zombie grub.
Yeah, I think we're both in agreement. We don't like it.
Don't do it.
We don't like it. It's something that Special's going to look at and be like, well, thank you. I'm just
You know, is Special just in his head? Does he think he's going to be mech? Is that why? Because if it was mech, then I could see it. But, like, he sees so many Hellions, he's a Liberator. And is he not scouting? Is he just now about to scout?
He's just now about to scout, so that is an important point to make. But I think, actually, Cham is just a Roach player. That's what I think of him as. I know it's not 100%, but it is more often than I see some of the other Zergs. Like, for instance, when Scarlet comes out to play today, I think we are going to see a lot more Ling Baneling, not as many Roaches, even though Special could very well bring out Cyclone Mech or General Mech versus her.
Yeah.
So no, I think it's just that he likes to play his style. Sometimes it does work out. Sometimes he gets like enough to spread around and defend and doesn't get, out multitask and stuff like that. But other times it's just, especially against a Cub or a player like Special, I mean, Special's the one here who gets to choose. Once he realizes it's Roaches, he can be like, okay, I'm going to wait for a big old push, or I'm going to go ahead and try and just out-harass you. Drops everywhere. Good luck dealing with that. We'll see. That is a very fast infestation bit.
Yeah.
Oh, lordy. Lordy, that's with your upgrade starting.
What's the plan here? Is it straight to Hive?
Yeah, it is.
But why? But just Ultra Rush? Are we going like Nurtio when Ultralisks had 12 armor at the start of Legacy of the Void?
Well, I think we'll find out in like 30 seconds here. If he starts to Spire with the Hive, obviously. But it might just be for those Ultras.
Maybe he just wants to go Roach Viper, man. Who knows?
Well, I mean...
He's forgetting the weird builds today, then.
Yeah, I guess.
No, you're right. It should be a Spire starting with the Hive, or it's going to be Ultras.
Special does not know about the Roaches, but I think he knows how Cham plays. These guys actually play a decent amount.
Liberator gets a siege up on that base. The whole army's distracted with the attack on the south side, pushing the 4th base. And it looks like Cham, he's got to push. He's got to fight here if he wants to hold on to this. But the siege tank in the back also providing great support. There's no Baneling.
Exactly. This is a push that last game, Special was a little like, push. He was actually pushed back because there were Banelings.
No, you're right. This is the same push, Zombie Grub.
It is actually the same push. Actually, I think there's maybe 2 tanks instead of the 1, like faster. But anyways, like, and if the Banelings were here, being this deep on a creep, Special would not have gotten so much damage done. He is eventually pushed back, but he doesn't get cleaned up. He leaves with the tanks.
And the Liberator still got a ton of damage behind all of it as well.
Yeah, exactly. So
now the drops in the main.
I mean, the goal for Cham here is that, well, he might not be able to catch up with all the drops. Maybe he can at least hold on to his army so he's not replacing the Roaches, right?
Yeah.
They're sturdier than Ling Baneling, and obviously Baneling sacrifice themselves.
Oh.
So that's why you're able to get to a Hive and Ultras. This is something we've seen, we saw years ago being the most common strategy. But look at this. Special is misreading this a little bit or just playing like overly cautious.
Does he think there's like a mega all-in coming?
He might think there was like a 1-1 attack, but he hasn't gotten into the main base to see. And we actually did not have a Hive start. It's Infestors.
Okay, Roach Ravager Infestor. I mean, that's a thing. That's a thing from like the start of Legacy of the Void. But okay.
So that scan doesn't reveal much, but it does see the evolution chamber is still wiggling, and now he sees the army still at home. So he should figure out that it's not going to be a big attack. And if it is, it's going to be one that he can handle anyways. So now I think the scan should go down on the Hive, or the lair.
Now the Hive starts. There's the Spire.
Okay, all right. A little delayed, putting all that gas into Infestors. And Infestors do help buy time. They're going to force Special to really reconsider some engagements like Banelings would have, but now it's Fungals. It's just that we can depend on Special to focus fire with his tanks whenever he does do a main push, but he's being very patient.
Yeah, I actually like this a lot, leaving a lot of the tanks at home, moving out with the bio and just getting a feel for the state of the game with what's going on with what units are out on the map, what is going to be used to try and fight against these, because you're not scared of Roach Ravager when you've got a ton of Marines like this. Like, you run up, you right-click on the Ravagers, they all die instantly.
Oops. There we go.
Don't want to eat that damage from the Spore Crawler. And there you go. Now that army is going to start rushing up a little bit. Marines cleaning house. Upgrades are still very even for these players, though, so there shouldn't be any real advantages there. 2-2 will be done for like 15 seconds before Specials finishes.
Yeah, Cham was just like really on point about his upgrade. Special like a little late to his, but more about that tank count and just maxing out. He's got a 4th base on the way. He is currently at 7 tanks. That is going to provide a lot of splash, and he can even siege hop them forward. He scans, sees the infestors. Actually, this one doesn't have energy quite yet. I guess I already used a fungal. But he knows that those are going to be a threat. He has to be a little bit cautious here. Should also realize that means there's going to be a timer. He doesn't actually see the hive, doesn't see the spire. He should know about it.
We're very far away from Broodlords in this game still. Corruptors are coming out. That Greater Spire is going to take some time, and then it's a good morph time for the actual Broodlords themselves to come out. There's the bios on the fungal bio.
Thankfully, we can move now.
Yes.
So, not nearly as devastating. And anytime he corrosive bios down on the bio, maybe he's missing a corrosive bio down on the tanks, which are encroaching as the army is allowed up into the main. It's going to clear up some creep spread soon enough. Actually, I hate this map because of this.
Oh my god, he doesn't even realize like his tanks are blocking the tanks from moving up.
Yeah, that's a very small choke. Another one so awkwardly around the corner. But we got other stuff going on here. There's a drop of the main base while the attack happens. We also have a drop or an attack off to the gold base.
Gold base killed.
Killed, not canceled.
And there's that drop in the main that you were talking about. Sees the hive. We'll be able to see the Greater Spire morphing as well, as that's a big fat target. Should be able to see the exact moment it finishes, but look at this. Fusion core, double starport finishing up right now. Got those starports very preemptively. Really good play. And those Broodlords, they are a morphin, but they still take forever. And economically, this has been a devastating loss for Cham. 26 drones down the drain.
Yeah. You know, with the Broodlords finishing up, it is mostly tanks left over. Like, Special will lose a good portion of his army, but he's replacing it so quickly. 4 bases, lots of barracks.
I'd like to see him unsiege the tanks and just pick them up and get them out of here.
Yeah.
He's instead going to choose to engage the Broodlords, and not a huge fan. Tanks are the units that can't run away, and you don't want to replace them. If you don't want to build tanks, so I feel like just having a few at home would be nice. Just try and keep them alive.
Yeah, at least I would say 4 is always a good number, like 1 in each base kind of deal. So if he saved that, that'd be great, but he's actually just going to...
Like, I'll jump on this little roach force.
Yeah, jump on it, lose the 1 more tank. 4 of them do go home, so that's the perfect amount for me. And he is building up that Viking count.
Building Vikings. In this phase, like, sometimes the Vikings, you don't want to overcommit into them because you're like, well, if the Zerg player tech switches, then my Vikings are useless. But in this situation, Cham does not have a transition. He is beyond broke.
Yep.
You know, he's
desperate.
He's in a situation where all he can do is make the best out of what he's already got and trickle out units behind it. In which case, massing Vikings is the best thing to do, because once you kill those Broodlords, that is it. You could just lawler skate with that Marine tank through the handful of roaches still on the map.
Yeah, Cham is playing the same game he's been playing for the last 12, 13 minutes, which is just defend, 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 hope that your army eventually gets to be better, you know, with Broodlords in this case, but it's actually quickly falling off because the Viking count's getting so high, and he doesn't have those transitions that you're talking about. He's not taking the map with creep spread, he's not denying extra bases from Special, and he's about to lose his Broodlords as there's nothing protecting them. Where are those fungals? He lost all of his infestors, and it took time to replace them. There's 3 of them now, but they're not able to help.
Vikings.
Yeah, it's going to be it. Broodlords are his last hope.
Yep. Corruptors are here. The rest of the Vikings and the Marines are here. It's going to be able to just kill everything. Special just has too much. Tanks are going to siege. Focus firing down on those roaches. GG. Special takes the first series of the day here at WCS Americas.
Not too unexpected, but he really showed he's in good form. That was a bit of a slapdown.
Really good. Most impressive thing to me was actually the first game. He was doing all the harass, 2 Ravens, all the Hellions, and he just built up this huge army back home. He takes his 3rd. He's got his 1-1. He's up to 5 barracks. He's got his tanks, medevacs.
Yep.
Moves out, gets 2nd factory. Like, everything just looked extremely crisp for Special. That just extremely well played. I have nothing else to say. He played damn near perfect this series.
He did. He really seemed to have a handle on what Cham was going to do, and Cham, a bit disappointedly, played like I expected him to, which, as we talked about, we already didn't like the idea of roaches. I think he'll do better in his ZvZs, but Special is proving why he should get out first.
Yep. Very, very well played by SpeCial. And he will advance to the winner's match where he awaits the winner of our next series. Here's the schedule for Group A. And we have Scarlet going up against Rex coming up next. Ladies and gentlemen, you won't want to miss it. You're watching the World Championship Series.